Hello, everyone. It's your favorite mountain man's favorite mountain man. My name is Beaver Thomas, and welcome back to my rendezvous. Today, as you saw by my demonstration, I'm going to teach you how to throw a tomahawk. Historically, throwing tomahawks was more for recreation, but there is a little bit of history to the combat portion of throwing them. But the main focus today will be discussing how to do it properly and effectively. So, like I said, for recreation, you can maybe take a little bit of money from your friends. So, without further ado, I will show you today how to throw a tomahawk. That's one thing you're going to need before you start throwing tomahawks. You'll probably need a whetstone nearby. So there's a deep history with weapons such as these, and it goes all the way back to the Stone Ages, roughly 2 million years ago. Human beings starting to pop up. We evolved from something that turned us into our very primitive ancestors all the way up into what we are today. Now, the difference between human beings, other than our extreme ability to comprehend things at a level not seen in any other animal, is we had the ability to throw and throw things with pinpoint accuracy. So naturally, you can see where we started to develop tools and use tools for manipulating the world around us to make it easier for ourselves. You can see where building a weapon that could be thrown and distribute devastating effects towards the thing that it was thrown at. So there is very much a realistic setting where throwing a tomahawk or an axe or a hatchet would have been beneficial to our earliest of ancestors because it fed them. But then we fast forward to relative to the universe's existence, modern day, and we talk about the mountain men and the indigenous peoples of North America. If you don't want a fast forward version of all this, please go check out this video by St. Andrew TV. He will discuss the very, very fine details of the history of tomahawk throwing. So I said the indigenous peoples and the mountain men. And this is my tomahawk that would be appropriate for either which. This is going to be something that you would see on most likely every person that you saw across the Mississippi River if you were pre-1840. Now, the most notable thing that you can do with this is handheld combat, especially when during this time it was a single shot muzzle loader, a flintlock, or a percussion cap rifle or pistol that you shot once and it took you a good 15 seconds to reload if you were good at it, which if you could have somebody fire off, then you just approach them and you start swinging. Swinging like your steroid Mark McGuire. The other thing that you do is throw it, but this is where I'm going to tell you the combat portion, even though there's a little bit of history of combat with throwing axes and throwing tomahawks. Combat, if you throw it at somebody and you miss, now they have that tomahawk. So it probably wasn't used in great detail when engaged in combat. You don't want to give the adversary your weapon. So what is that left to? Recreation. And we love to make games. We love to notice patterns. So we, as a human species, decided that we were going to use it as a game. And there are notable accounts, even into ancient times, where this was seen as a skill for anybody, hunters, frontiersmen, warriors, throwing tomahawks at a backdrop that you see right there. There's a couple of different things that I want to show you before we actually get this thing thrown. And the first thing we're going to do is our grip. I was always taught that when you have your grip up here, give yourself about an inch to half inch underneath the handle, and that allows you to turn it over. But that little piece there will run against your hand if you're trying to over-rotate it. That is the second thing that I'd like to get into, is when you're throwing it, this is a lot of a wrist motion more so than an arm motion. And considering that I don't have the best setup here to, I don't know, get a full wind up, throw it across the room as hard as I can and get it to rotate and stick, I'm really going to have to rely on my wrist flick with all this, because this is a longer weapon that I have. If you don't want to go out there and spend $150 and build your own tomahawk, you can go to a hardware store and pick up one of these hatchets for 20 bucks. They do the same thing. The wrist motion and the throwing motion might be a little bit different for the fact that it's got a shorter handle and it's more front heavy. You might actually have the equipment do more of the work if you were to take that avenue. The other thing is with the grip that I'd like to touch on before I move any further so it doesn't feel like I'm glossing over it, is you can have a grip that you'd usually do with a hammer or a wrench or something, or you can put your thumb vertically and throw it like that. It really does not matter. This is more of a feel thing at the end of the day. This is more based on your personal preference of what feels better. Sometimes you'll see it probably over the course of this video. I will throw it like this. I will throw it like this. I'll throw it like this. Whatever I need to do to correct myself in such a short distance, because I'm only throwing at a target that's about 12 feet away, I will make sure that I do that. And considering that's my nice tomahawk, we're probably going to use this one for the rest of the video, to be quite frank. So the next thing is your throwing motion. And trust me when I say this, nobody has NFL quarterback level arm talent. So you're not going to be able to just do this and get any sort of velocity where you can stick this hatchet here into that backdrop. But the main point I want to get across is when you turn and throw, you're going to step and turn your hips. It's regardless if you throw it like this, you turn your hips and step. Regardless if you throw it like this, you turn your hips and step. Basically, wherever your shoulders are square to when you're roughly facing the backdrop is where that hatchet or tomahawk is going to go. Turn your hips, step. Just like that. Did you see how I kind of overcorrected there and my shoulders were a little whopper jawed towards the left-hand side? Look where that hatchet ended up, on that knot, on that piece of wood there. But it stuck all the same. I suppose if you were doing this for a couple hours a day, you'd get really good at it. Which leads me to my last thing about throwing a tomahawk. It's rotation. Ideally, you're going to want it to rotate a complete 360 degrees. So when you throw it, and the tomahawk is hitting like this, doesn't make its complete 360 degree rotation, you're going to want to take a half step back. Don't fiddle with your throwing motion to make the tomahawk work. Fiddle with your positioning. And I'm sure if you're in a competition or you're just messing around with your buddies, it's not going to matter if you take a 6-inch step back or a 6-inch step forward. Which leads me into if you got it over rotating and it's hitting somewhere like this. Move forward a little bit. Then, if you move forward a little bit, this turns into this, and you can get that meaty part of your tomahawk to hit a piece of wood. This one's a little bit different because the handle's longer, so it is basically all wrist flick. Didn't actually have a great rotation there. It caught the underside of the blade. But it stuck because I had enough velocity to it because I stepped and I turned my hips over and that gave me the velocity. Last thing I'd like to touch on is just have fun with it. This was strictly for recreation, and you can read about it in numerous first-person accounts with like mountain man journals. And actually, where I'm from, if you go a little bit north, you can read about it in lumberjack diaries, which is a thing that became of this. It became a lumberjack sport later on and became actually caught a little bit of fire and became more so a national craze. People started doing this, and this is a rather enjoyable way to get a little bit of steam out. Playing with weapons, after all. This one is better suited for my indoor activities, and I suppose if I ever make it out to a mountain man rendezvous, I will break out the one that's a little bit more historically accurate. Thank you everyone for getting this far into the video, and that was the best way I could describe to you how to throw a tomahawk. So maybe if you ever caught yourself in an event with your friends, or maybe you go to Rendezvous across the entirety of the year, whichever it is, or maybe you're a lumberjack and here in 2026. Whatever the case, I hope that my little pointers of how to throw a tomahawk were beneficial to you in some way. There's a Patreon that supports all of Dog Pound Studios down in the description below, or it should be appearing somewhere on your screen here. I am nothing more than a simple mountain man. And when you see a video get produced, it's because I want to produce it. And it does get expensive from time to time, so if you'd like to help me out, go for it. If not, no harm, no foul. My name is Beaver. This was my Rendezvous. Subscribe or don't. I'm not your dad. Keep your powder dry, and I will see you in the next one.